they don't understand that concept of hard work. And I really believe that in today's generation that's leaving, especially the ones that are younger than us, that concept of, hey, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to do whatever it takes. They're trying to weaken men because they understand, and men understand that I have to sacrifice. They know the next generation is going to be better. Success is one generation outperforming the other that was before them. And I think that's the biggest thing that we have to understand as men, is that your job is to sacrifice. Yes, it gets lonely. Yes, it hurts sometimes, but you have to understand that that's your job.
So being in control of your emotions, bro, you become one of the most dangerous man on this earth, bro.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Rise Up Dads podcast. My name is TJ McCoy. I'm your host. Today, we have a very special episode. Today's episode is all about building champions in home through discipline, growth, and also we have a very special guest, Sylvester Williams, former Super Bowl champ, and we want to ask him how fatherhood is after the NFL. He has graced us with his presence today. I just want him to give a little bit of information about himself. Obviously, if you're a Denver Broncos fan, you know who this man is, but I just wanted him to tell you guys a little bit about himself, you know, his career and what he's doing now.
No, man, I appreciate you having me. You know, I believe anytime you can connect with people that's doing great things in the community. Obviously, I met your father, an amazing individual himself. A little bit about myself. As you know, we had this conversation before. I was actually raised by a single father. My mother struggled pretty much my entire life due to drug abuse. Born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I grew up with one sister in the home and one younger brother who was both children by my father. And I also had two other sisters who was my mom's children. They was raised by one of my sisters was given up for adoption. Her dad my mom didn't want her. And my other sister was raised by my granny. And so, my upbringing, man, I wouldn't say that it was tough, but it wasn't the best, because my father was a hardworking man. He pretty much worked from 3 to 1 in the morning. So by the time I get out of school, he was off to work. And when I went to bed, he wasn't home. And so it created some issues in my life academically. That's why I was held back in the first grade. And when I got into the 8th grade, he started to have some issues financially. We were struggling behind on the mortgage and facing foreclosure. And he kind of fell back into drugs himself, led him into rehab. I got kicked out of school for fighting and ended up at risk for, going into the system. And at that time, my older sister came down from Jefferson City, where she was living at the time, and picked us up and took us back up there with her. And everything started to kind of look upward for us as far as I was being able to go to school every day. I had the clothes I needed. She was feeding us real well. And that situation started to get a little rocky. So I ended up having to get a full-time job, started working full-time, got kicked out of school again as a sophomore. And really that was the turning point in my life, because at that point I made a decision that I wanted to be great, because I had two options: go to alternative school or get a GED. And for me, I felt like that was the easy route out. And my father was my hero, and feeling like I had let him down, and really just being in that situation where all the work that he had put in, just seeing his reaction to me being kicked out of school for missing too many days, it was just something that I didn't sit well with me. So I made a decision at that point that I was going to take the rest of the year off, which is my sophomore year, and I was going to go back the next year and do it the right way. And I did. I went back my junior year, started to get back on the right track, work less hours, and I ran into a football coach at the end of the year, which was the start of my football journey. And he pretty much just told me, hey, you a big guy, to come play football. And I'm like, man, I like basketball at the time, right. I was a basketball player. But I did, and fell in love with the brotherhood, the discipline, the leadership qualities that I learned from playing football. And wasn't that good of a player, but I loved being around the guys. And that was my senior year. Started one game, which was senior day. I tell you all the time, man, I was a really bad football player in high school. And so I graduated with my class, but I graduated through a credit recovery program. So I had added a 5th period. Mm-hmm. Most kids go 4 hours doing 5 to get more credits and be able to graduate with my class, and I was able to do that. Got a job at a radiator factory, and I worked there for about 6 months, and I made a decision, man, I wanted to go back to school, try to go to college. Crazy idea at the time, because I had never succeeded in school. Mm-hmm. But again, I was chasing greatness, and I was betting on myself, and So I came up with this idea to go to school and play football, which again, I wasn't good at school and I wasn't good at football. So again, I wasn't good at school and I wasn't good at football. But I came up with this idea that I was going to go to college and play football, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about belief in self and also the man that my father raised. And I made a decision. My mentor helped me out. I got my family together, started sending to different schools. Nobody would call me back. And so I had to make a decision to either go a different route or drive down and ask for opportunity. And I did. Thank God they gave me the opportunity, man. I took full advantage of it, and 2 years later, I was the number 2 ranked defensive tackle in the country at the junior college level, All-American. Chose to go to the University of North Carolina, where I went and had a successful 2 years there. Became a first-round draft pick in 2013, Super Bowl champion in 2015. But what I say my most proud of, man, is being a college graduate. Being able to graduate from the University of North Carolina and have that degree is something that's part of my legacy.
Yes, sir. No, that's amazing. And the biggest thing about this podcast, I know it's called Rise Up Dads, but even at the same time, this is a man's podcast. And even just listening to your story, I just hear discipline, hard work. And that goes into being a dad. A lot of people think discipline and hard work is just, oh, I want to achieve my goals. But that also has a big part in the playing in who you are as a father. You just said, hey, my dad was a hard worker. He worked from 3 in the afternoon to 1 a.m. in the morning. A lot of men today, I'm just being honest, a lot of men today, they don't understand that concept of hard work. And I really believe that in today's generation that's leaving, especially the ones that are younger than us, that concept of, hey, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do whatever it takes, to provide for my family. And that's something that you witnessed that your father did for you. Hey, it wasn't always the best, but hey, I'm going to make sure that I go to work. And anything that we want to do here at the Rise Up Dads podcast is we want to tell stories and show men how you have to work. He's a former NFL player, right? He worked very hard, but it's not just about football. It's the work ethic that he had to do to achieve that goal. And no matter what you want to do in life, you have to be able to put in the work and you have to have discipline. You have to be able to be told no. This man took his film, went to a whole bunch of different colleges, didn't hear back. Most people today be like, oh, it ain't working. But he was able to fight through that and say, hey, they may have told me no, they may have told me this, but I'm still gonna believe in what God has for me. So I think that's very important. And that leads into kind of our first topic. Our first topic is all about leadership and discipline. So my first question for you is, how did discipline in football shape the way you lead and parent your children today?
I think football taught me so much. And I tell people this all the time. It's like, just because I've reached a level of success, it don't eliminate me from real life issues, right? And so I'm a full-time father. My son lived with me full-time. I was awarded custody of him 2 years ago. So we're going to our 2nd year together now. But it came after 11-year battle, right?
Yes, sir.
So when we talk about, having that leadership, and I talked about my father also being a single father. I think the biggest thing for me is like, I went through my NFL career, right? And it was extremely hard for me to make it to the NFL.
Right.
But when I made it, it taught me so much about life. And when you put the work in, the results that you won't follow. And so for me, it was like, as I went through my career and I had these struggles of, being a father, because I had to juggle being an NFL player.
Yep.
I had to juggle being a father of 1, 2, then 3 kids. And I tell people this all the time, and I will literally play a game on Sunday, go to work on Monday, because you practice half days on Mondays.
Yep.
I will lead our Tuesdays or off days. So I would give them a flight Monday night, and I will go to North Carolina to pick up my son. And what's crazy is, man, 90% of the time that I would get on that flight, I wouldn't come back on my son. So I knew that I only had a 10% chance of getting him when I get on that flight.
Right.
Just because of issues that was out of my control. Right. But I made that commitment to my son that, listen, I'm going to show up and I'm going to live in that 10% area. Is to do what I could control. I can't control her not giving you to me, but I could control whether or not I get on that flight. Right. So I was doing it throughout my entire NFL career. Going on Monday, supposed to come back on Tuesday. Sometimes I'm coming back, without my son. And to me, it was many nights that I thought about giving up, right? But when I went back to that mind frame that I was in when I got kicked out of high school, or when my father wanted to give up, or, when I didn't get the offers in college that I thought that I should have got because of my size. And for me, it was like, if I give up now, then today don't happen, right?
Exactly.
So if I would have gave up back then today don't happen. So just having that level of commitment and that discipline to stay committed, because I always had this belief, man, that, man, if you show up, you do the right thing, and you do the right thing in a mind frame of, I understand that it's not about what's best for me. It's about what's best for him.
Yes.
And so me getting on that flight, even though I may not get him, was what was best for him.
Yep.
And so, man, after doing that for 11 years, you know, again, I went back to who I was as a player, and I'm like, everything I've ever set my mind to, because of who I am, because of the way I go about life, I've been able to accomplish. So when I done that, and when I did that, it allowed me to be awarded custody and be able to better his life. And I teach my son the same principles that my father taught me.
Right.
Because my father was a tough love kind of guy.
Yep.
I probably heard my father tell me he loved me 5 times my entire life, right? And, you know, so for me, I try to tell my son, but my father taught me 2 things about life, and that's how to protect him and provide.
Right.
You know, and so as I go through life now today, I do that at a high level. I protect and provide. And because I didn't have a mother, so now I have to relearn how to have the emotional stuff, right?
Yep.
Tell my son, hey, I love you, son.
Yep.
You know, or tell my son, hey, you know, you be the best you could be, right? And not be so hard on him, because that's what I know. It worked for me.
Yep.
We live in a different
generation.
So.
Yep. No, man, what you experience, just listening to that, that's delayed gratification. And I think a lot of people don't understand the concept of delayed gratification. I gotta build this up, that way I can then experience that later. And especially, I keep talking about people today, you know, some dads today, they'll say, oh, well, she ain't let me see my kids, so whatever, I ain't gonna be in his or hers life. But then you don't understand that if you do that, you build that resentment. Your son was able to see you fight for him for 11 plus years. So he was then able to say, hey, my dad loves me. My dad cares about me. And he knows that, hey, it's not my dad that's holding, that doesn't want to have a relationship with me. It's other external factors. So that's delayed gratification. But my thing is, I want to say a PSA, if you are dealing with a situation with your child's mother and you're not able to see your kid, we live in a different generation. You can FaceTime your kid, you can text your kid, you can do whatever. Whatever you have to do to be in your child's life, do it. There's no excuse, especially in today's time. You have no excuse. You can fight to be in your kid's life. And when your kid sees that, they're gonna know that their father loves them. And I think that's the biggest thing, that kids today are missing that father's love. They're missing that father's approval. And we have to make sure that we're doing everything we can possible to make sure that they know that we care. We understand that we can't do nothing about the woman. We can't do nothing about all these external factors. But what we can do is make sure that that child knows that you love and care about them. And this story that was just told, that was an 11-year battle. And my thing is, your kid is worth it. Your kid is worth 11 years. Your kid is worth your whole life. So if you as a man, you're not willing to sacrifice and deal with the baby mama drama and all that other crap, then do you really care about your kid? And that's a question that you have to ask yourself. So I just want to commend you for that, because a lot of men would have gave up a long time ago. My second question is, when you think about teaching and guiding, not just punishing, because I know you said, hey, you know, I grew up in a different generation. This is how it was. Even me, I was raised old school. My dad didn't know his dad. He'd never seen him. He don't know what he looked like. So a lot of the stuff that my dad was doing with me was like, hey, this trial and error.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I remember getting whoopings, and he'd be like, hey, I love you. He made me give him a hug after I got a whooping. I'm like, man, what's up with you? You know what I'm saying? So it's just stuff like that. But when you think about teaching and guiding, not just punishing, how do you apply the same coaching mindset at home?
I think for me, it's like, I try to tell my son this, and it's like, you know, I believe in it, because, you know, being an athlete, you learn so much about, like I said, life earlier. At the end of the day, man, the work that I put in is what the results are going to show.
Right.
And them results may not always be what I wanted to be, right? But that just means I got to go back to the drawing board. And so one of the things about my son, when I got my son last year, he was in the 6th grade.
Yeah.
But he was actually, academically, he was on the 2nd grade and a half level.
Yeah.
So when I got him, I had to close that gap.
Yeah.
So it was intense tutoring. He had to go to the learning center. And the thing is, man, I always told my son, listen, at the end of the day, all I expect from you is the best that you can do.
Yep.
Because that's all you can do.
Yep.
do the best that you can do, and I will let me live with the results.
Right.
Because I can assess the results and I can say, okay, you need improvement in this, so let me get these resources right. And it's the same thing in football, right? In sports, it's like, at the end of the day, the work that you put in, it's not gonna guarantee success.
Right.
But what it do guarantee is it guarantee you an opportunity to say, you know what, I can review, I can say, and I can go back to the drawing board. And that's the approach that I take with him, man. It's like, I don't believe in physical discipline.
Yep.
And I just think times have changed, right? So for me, it's like I try to discipline him in ways. It's like, you know, hey, okay, so now if I tell you to do something, you don't do it. Okay, now it's consequence. That may be not being able to play the video game.
Right.
That might be getting your phone taken away. You know, and I put him in football, and thank God I was able to coach him this year. But I put him in football to be able to help him understand, you know, what hard work is, what being disciplined is, and it's certain days where he come home and he say, I don't want to go to practice today. I don't feel like it. Or my back hurt. And so I asked him, I said, okay, well, tell me what happened today. Oh, when I was in gym class, this happened. Well, that's not an injury. You know, that was you horsing around. And just because you was horsing around, okay, well, we got to go to practice. So that's kind of how I approach it. It's like, I think that he got a level of respect for me that is like, because he knows, he see me show up every day. He see me get up in the mornings. He see me take care of him and then take care of his brother. So I think as he's starting to get older, he's starting to understand.
Right.
And it's getting to the point now where he's starting to come to me. He could even tell now, like, I'm having a bad day. He come in and give me a hug and say, I love you, Dad. It's going to be okay, whatever it may be. And, you know, I think just developing that bond, but I think that came through sports. I think me being able to coach him this year, me being able to put him in football, he playing lacrosse too. And he's understanding to see other kids with their dads and different. I think it just helps so much. But that's the approach I take, man. I just tell him, listen, man, just do the best you could do. But I gotta know that you did the best that you could do based off the work that I saw you put in.
Exactly.
So if I see you studying, and if I see you, you know, going over the information, and if I see you getting up every day, you know, going and doing your best, I'm gonna live with whatever the results is. Because the results is not on you. That's on me to figure out. You're 12 years old. Let me live with the results and let me assess it so I can get you the help that you need.
Absolutely. That's huge. And I think, you know, growing up when kind of like whenever we were growing up, it was like, hey, this is the expectation. This is what I expect you to do. And I think a lot of fathers, they put expectations on their kids and they're like, hey, you know, I wasn't able to do this in sports, so I want you to do it. Versus like what you said, doing the best you can do. My dad was a former athlete as well, and he played in the NFL for 10 years. So it was always kind of like, he didn't push it, but it was kind of like other people like, well, hey, your dad did this, so you're going to do that. But he always told me, hey, you do the best that you can do. I'm not worried about what I did. What I did, it's done. It's in the past. This is your time, and you have to do the best that you can do. And I think that's something that we have to do as dads and just as men, period, is you have to do the best that you can do in your life. And especially when it comes to your kids, telling them, hey, you do the best that you can do. Even like you said, I'm at the deliver result. I'm your parent. I'm here to help guide you and make sure that you're getting better each and every time. But don't worry about failing. And I think that's a big thing about kids, especially like you said, your son's in the 6th grade, right? Seventh grade, right? At this time in his life, failure is huge, because if he fails and then he sees how you react to the failure and you're like, man, you failed, and that makes that self-esteem go down, that makes them feel worse. But if you're like, hey, you failed, you made a mistake, you did the best that you could, or even let's say he didn't do the best that he could. Now you see that you didn't do the best that you could, right? Now you see that you didn't do the best. Now you know, hey, I have to work harder. I have to do this. I have to do that. And that even makes his self-esteem go up higher, because he knows, man, if I would have just did this, if I would have just did that, I would be experiencing a different result. My last question on this topic is, what lessons about teamwork and accountability from the NFL do you try to instill in your kids?
I mean, I think, you know, I kind of talked about it, like when you talk about teamwork, it's like I always tell my kids, you know, this is like, because I got 3 boys.
Yep.
Right. And when you
That's a blessing.
It is crazy, man. And God put me in this position. But when you talk about, like, because when we was growing up, you know, like our parents always told us, like, you look after your brother.
Yep.
And you look after your sister, whatever. Like, I couldn't come home when I was a kid. Like, I couldn't go home without my sister or my brother. And I was the middle child, but it's like my father was so tough on me because he deemed me as the leader of his family.
Right.
hey, where your brother at?
Yep.
Oh, I don't know. Go find him.
Yep.
Just go find him. It's like, so I try to tell my kids is like, that y'all got to work together because they could be so separate as like, he got a game system, he got a game system, and it's like, they want to play separate.
Yep.
And so I'm trying my best to get them to
Come
understand,
together.
because again, they do got different moms. So it's like, you the only child here, you the only child there. So like, I'm trying to bring them together to operate as a team and just understand that, like, listen, you know, y'all might not always get along, but just have each other back.
Right.
Because one day I'm not going to be here.
Exactly.
Right. I won't be here one day. And the people that you're going to be there to lean on the most is going to be your brother. Like, I talk to my sister every single day of my life, man. Like, and we talk about, she know everything about me. And that came from when we was growing up, you know, going through adversities together, you know, going through the struggle. Everything we went through is like, it made us stronger, our relationship stronger to get to where we are today.
Something even like you just said with that, something that you said that was very important is that you want to make sure all your kids are cool and they have a good bond. I remember I was listening to Patrick Bet David. He was talking about his kids because he has 4 kids, and he was talking to his kids. They were arguing one time, and he said, "Hey, y'all have to be tight. Y'all have to be cool because you're gonna know your brother longer than you know me. Because I'm not gonna, like you said, I'm not gonna be here one day. So you're gonna know your siblings longer than you know me. So you gotta make sure you have a good relationship with them because they're gonna be in your life longer than I'm gonna be in your life." And then whenever he said that, I was like, man, that hit me. And I'm like, man, like I've known my brother for 26 years. I've known my sister for, you know, as long as I've been alive. And I'm like, man, like I got that sense of urgency. I'm like, man, we need to do more stuff together. We need to talk more. We need to do this. And even, you know, my dad's 55 now, even just coming to that realization, like, hey, he's not going to be here forever. You know what I'm saying? So that's a very important thing. And I commend that. And there's some parents that be trying to push their kids towards each other and like, oh, well, I like this kid better. I like that kid better. But we have to make sure that it doesn't happen, especially in the households today, because we want to make sure that we're raising kids that not only love their siblings, but that teamwork. And I think that's the best thing that I learned about the sport of football. I'm sure you learned this. It's all about the team. Nothing comes before for the team. And even now that the game is over, it's nothing more important than family. You never get something that is more important than family that comes before family. And our next topic that we're going to cover is all about fatherhood and identity. So the next question is, how did becoming a father change your perspective on success and legacy?
Man, that's a good question. Becoming a father, my father had this saying growing up, right? And he would always say, all right, you gonna see. It's like, and it's like, you know, he would always say that to me. Every time I would do something wrong, he's like, oh, you gonna see one day. I'm trying to tell you. As I became a father, right? And I remember when I had my first son, he was in the hospital with some issues, and it was like, man, but I remember it being one of the happiest moments of my life.
Right.
Not only was it because he was a boy, it was my first son, but because I understood that now my purpose was way bigger than just my football. Right. So my number one goal in life, bro, for even wanting to be successful was first my father. Wanting to take care of my own father, right? Because the struggles I seen him go through. And I say this all the time, bro, the hardest thing in America right now is to be a man.
Yes.
You know, and and it's sad to say that because if you look at it, like, bro, the pressure is on us, right?
Yeah.
We got to protect, we got to provide. Now we got to be emotionally stable, right? In today's time, but it's like, you know, if you think about it, you wake up every single day, but how many people cheer you on for doing a good job, right? Like as a father, bro, I've been a father now for 12 years, and all I can say is I get his fatherhood everything I got. Right. And not that I expect people to say, hey, doing a good job, but it's like the amount of people that say, hey, man, you're doing a good job. Right. Or, hey, man, keep up the good work. I'm probably like, I don't get that. It's like, sometimes I sit back and I think about it like, but I give out all this praise to everybody else. Do the best I can for everybody. It's like, when you come down to it, don't nobody come and say you're doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? When I pay the mortgage or when I do things, you know, for my family, like my wife, you know, my kid, they don't come to me and say, hey, you're doing a good job, because it's expected it's expected from us as men, right? And you think about we get beat up by the world. You know, we come home, sometimes the hump ain't even together.
It's not.
Because I was in that situation.
Yep.
Where I was literally going out here fighting the world, taking on double team, doing all these things to try to provide for my family and secure our future. And I was literally going home to a chaotic household.
Right.
Right. And to the point to where, I almost lost everything.
Right.
My home that I dreamed of having, I almost lost that, and it's like all that came behind me trying to be a good father. Because I say, I told myself, you know what? I'm going to be a great father to this kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try to provide this kid a dream home. And to the point to where it's like, when do you look at it and say, okay, you've done enough. Okay, you can relax now.
Right.
It don't exist. And so when you talk about becoming a father, like it changed my life because it gave me that purpose to live for every single day.
Right.
Every morning when I wake up, the first thing I think about is my 3 boys. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. It's like, how do I ensure that when I leave this earth, that they're in the best position that they could be?
Right.
Why? Because look, we don't know what the world gonna look like 5, 10, 20 years from now. But what I can promise you is it won't look nothing like what it look right now.
Right.
Just like it didn't look like this when we was coming up.
Yep.
And it's like, and to me, I look at it like this. And I feel like right now, society is trying to weaken our men.
Yep.
Weaken our younger generation because they know that if they can control the leaders,
Yep.
that they can control the world.
Right.
Right. And so for me, it's like I'm trying to equip my sons to understand and like, listen, you got to be your own individual.
Yep.
You got to lead the way that you think is best, right? But I got to show them the right example, right? That's why for me, it's like I got to be committed relationship. I got to be a man that they see come home every day. They see me going out here and impacting the world because that's what they going to see as a role model as they start to get older and remember the things that I'm doing. And so for me, it's like, just wanting to leave that impact on them. That's a positive impact so that when they do get out into the real world, they're able to survive, right?
Absolutely.
Or not only survive, but thrive, right?
Right.
Because, I don't want them to just survive. I want them to be able to thrive. But if I don't, if as a man and as a leader of this family, if I don't put things in place and if I don't lay the foundation for them to succeed, it won't happen.
That's so true, man. And you kind of answered the other question I was going to say. How do you balance being a provider and being emotionally present? I personally believe, even like you said, I want to show them that I'm coming home every day. I want to show them this is what a man does, paying the mortgage, all that stuff. Even like, we both Black, so I'm just keeping it real. Back in the 60s, people, they had a civil rights movement. People marched, people died, people fought for us to have the freedoms that we have today. At that time, those people weren't thinking about, oh, I want to have this freedom. I want to have that. They were thinking about the people that came after them.
Yeah.
And I kind of think like that's what being a father is. It's like, hey, I'm gonna sacrifice now.
Yep.
I'm gonna sacrifice buying something I like or doing something I want to do because I want to make sure my sons or my daughters have this when I'm not here or have something better than I had. Even like, I think about my dad. My dad grew up in a shack. Literally, he took me to his house. Literally from that end to where that drum set is. That's how long his house was.
Wow.
And I literally went there in Mercy Drive, Orlando. And I saw how big his house was. And, compared to, how I grew up. And he was like, look, I lived that life because I didn't want you guys to feel that.
Yeah.
And that to me is all about sacrifice. And even like you said, how they're trying to weaken men today and everything what society's trying to do, they're trying to weaken men because they understand, and men understand that I have to sacrifice. They know the next generation is going to be better. And that's how I try to live my life right now. It's like, hey, I want to be a provider. I want to be a protector. I want my sons or my daughters to be better than I ever was. That's my goal. I want that to happen. Whenever my kids do get here, I'm like, hey, I know I did this, I know I did that, but I want you to do better things. And then even my dad was talking about success. Success is one generation outperforming the other that was before them. That is something important. I think today that a lot of people are selfish. They want what they want when they want it right now. And that goes on men and women. I think men and women today in today's generation are just selfish. They're like, hey, I want this, I want that. Versus saying, hey, I have this kid here. I want to make sure that I sacrifice this so that kid can go do this. I'd rather not buy some new shoes so I can pay for a tutoring appointment for my kid, or so I can buy my kid some clothes. And I think that's the biggest thing that we have to understand as men is that your job is to sacrifice. Yes, it gets lonely. Yes, it hurts sometimes, but you have to understand that that's your job. Your job is to build, honor, protect, serve, but most importantly is to make sure that your offspring have it better than you had it and teaching them how to achieve greatness and thrive. So that's just super important.
I want to add something.
Good.
And I want to say, because you made me think about something.
Yeah.
The most dangerous man in this world is a man that's in control of his emotions. I learned this. I went through a situation, bro, that was like, that almost took me out.
Yep.
But I'm going to tell you what really hurt me the most is because I felt like I had given so much to a situation.
Yep.
And I felt like I wasn't appreciated for giving that. And it was like, I used to wake up every day, bro, and it was like, I wanted so bad because I didn't want the person back.
Yeah.
But it was like, I wanted the person to understand how I felt.
Yeah.
So
it's that respect. The number one thing a man needs is respect. If you feel like you ain't respecting me,
it's like, if you don't respect me, I can't be there. But I wanted so bad to say, you know what, I wanted to just say like, this how you gonna do me, or after all I did, this is, you gonna try to take my house. Everything, you gonna try to take my son from me after you saw what I went through with my oldest son. And I wanted so bad to just release these emotions. Because they would just build up every single day. And so I started going to therapy. And the therapist told me, she said, you know what, man? She said, you gotta get it out of you. So she said, just start writing it down. She said, go on your phone, open up the notes tab. But she said, just write whatever it is you want to say to this individual, just write it down. And I would literally go on my phone some nights, bro, and I would just start venting to the phone. But I would feel better the next day when I woke up, right? Because like, I got it off of me. When I started controlling my emotion, that people couldn't dictate. Because people was toying around with me and doing certain things that they knew would trigger me to get a reaction out of me so they could keep me where they wanted to keep me. But when I started being in control of my emotions and I started not responding to anything that wasn't positive, bro, it changed my whole life. It allowed me to be able to, that's why I'm able to go to court, fight with my kids and be able to come out with a successful outcome every single time. When I go to court, I'm not focused off of what happened in the relationship. I'm not focused on, what you did to me or what I did to you. All I'm focused on is, I do know what's best for the kid, and it's the best thing for this child is to have their father in their life. And this is who I am today. Regardless of what they say about me in the past, this is who I am today. And this is why I deserve to be a part of my kid life. The person that you're talking about, when I was with you, I don't live there no more. So being in control of your emotions, bro, you become one of the most dangerous man on this earth, bro.
I think that you learn that in football too. Like whenever you play football, and I think everybody would say this, the most, I wouldn't say anybody's scared of anybody, but I guess the most difficult person to play against is like, they just whooping your behind, but they ain't saying nothing. They just whooping your behind. They not even saying nothing. Like if people will talk about, they'll be doing all that talking, and then a person just beat them on the field and they don't even say nothing. It's just, and then it'd be snap after snap, snap after snap. I'm not saying I'm just whooping your behind. You can't get underneath that person's skin. You can't do anything to that person because it's just like, man, how do I push his button? How do I do that? Because in football, they're always just trying to get you off your game. But if you so focus on the next play, doing what you're supposed to do, and I think that was a perfect example what you explained, because you learned that in the game. People are going to try to, get underneath your face mask. One thing I hated going against people in football is when a D lineman would rush the passer and push your face mask. That would
You see them do it, what they do is they know a cat is a high head. So they press his button, try to get him out the game.
Throw out the game.
Penalty. And it's like, man, you got to be in control of that, man. And it's tough because emotions are extremely
high in a physical game, All right, post-game reflection. This is a fast segment that we're going to do right now. So, Sylvester, being a dad, what has being a father taught you that the NFL could never do?
I think, man, getting cut from the NFL, like in the NFL, you can get cut, you could be here today, be there tomorrow. Like my son is in my life forever. Like I don't got the option to cut him out of my life. And, the NFL will let you down very quickly, as you know, and send you home. And like my son is a part of my life forever. And this is a bond that I will always have. So.
Absolutely. Being in the NFL, I'm an offensive lineman. I know you're a defensive lineman. What was your favorite call that your linebacker told you? You played with some great ones. What was your favorite defensive call?
Brad Sam Mike Blitz. And that was my favorite call because, see, I had this where I would be able to literally engage with the center, and then I would literally be able to back off the ball and basically play linebacker the most and track wherever the ball. That probably was my favorite play, man, just because it freed me up the most. And I remember what's crazy is we talk about this, man. We was playing the Tennessee Titans one day. I mean, I was playing for the Titans. We was playing the Chiefs one day. And they called this play. So I gave it center. I back up. I see the running back. I hit him. Boom. He ball over. So that was actually the quarterback's receiver that he was trying to go through. And so when I knocked the running back over, the quarterback took off. And so I chased him down the sideline, dove, and got a sack. That was probably one of my favorite plays in my career, just because, number one, being able to impact the play in the running back, and then being able to chase the quarterback down. So that man, look, he could have been a linebacker.
Okay. I like that. That's awesome. So I know you just told us about football. If you're your dad, obviously, what are 3 plays or three things that you would give the dads that are watching this that would be your 3 plays for being a dominant father?
I would say number 1, be in control of your emotion. Necessarily, be in control of your emotions will be number 1. I would say number 2, understand that everything that you do has an impact on your child. Right? Everything you do. So the way you wake up, the way you go to work, the way you love your wife, the way you talk to strangers in the street, everything you do has an impact on your child because they literally watch everything that you do. The third thing will be, man, understand, man, you got to protect your children, but also allow them that space to be themselves.
Yes, sir.
I think you got to allow them to grow to who they going to be. And it's almost like, you see the movie where you see the snipers, right? You got to be that sniper. So like, even though you may be so far away, like, trust me and believe me, I got eyes on you. Anything that I see around you that may cause harm to your life, like, I got you.
Man, even when he was talking about the sniper, I thought about my favorite sniper movie is American Sniper. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, of course.
Man, I still remember seeing that movie, man. I would say that was my freshman year in college. That was the, no cap. That was the first movie because I didn't know the story. And then when I saw the ending, I ain't gonna lie, I dropped a tear because I was like, I didn't know this dude died. I was like, that's probably one of my all-time favorite movies. All-time favorite movies, man.
But though, that's fatherhood though.
Yeah.
Like, think about it though. Eventually, what I'm saying, little homie gonna have to go out to college. He going to it. And I'm still protecting you. Don't get me wrong. But I gotta let you go. And now it ain't about me walking you across the street.
Right.
Pick you up from school. Now I gotta protect you from this. But just know I'm still there.
Right.
I'm still here to protect you. It's just now I gotta let you. You ain't gonna know I'm here though. Cause I need you to think that you could do it on your own. I'm still here though. And I do it with my 12-year-old son. Like, I let him think. Like, my son used to go to school and I literally, bro, I would be driving and I would know it, how he get home from school on his scooter. So I'd be just driving behind him. I never know I'm going there. He don't even know it. He's thinking he roll home by himself. The whole time. I've been watching this whole time.
And I think that's another thing too. A lot of parents think parenting, my dad talked about it on Sunday. They think parenting ends when their kid turns 18. He said that's when it just starts. Cause even I could just be honest about my life, man. Like, in college, I went through a lot of stuff. Obviously, like, football wise, that's just football, but just you dating and all that stuff. I had a lot of problems with women in college, just picking the wrong ones and everything like that. Like, but it took my dad saying, hey, no, no. My mom said no. So that's a big thing, because you think that your job is done. Like, okay, you're out my house. But no, it's actually just beginning, because then you got to think about, man, what was I doing when I was 18? What was I doing when I was 20, 22, 23, 24? You know what I'm saying?
So that all of those things that, me and my father, we became the closest that we ever became once I became grown.
I'm telling you.
Everything that I was going through in life, I'm like, oh man, hey dad, so I'm dealing with this situation, and he like, okay, do this, because they already ran the plays. They do it all. So he like, okay, do this, do that, you're gonna be all right. Yes, sir, I got you. So it's like just going through all these emotions, and like even now to this day, bro. How old are you now?
I'm 28. I'll be 29.
So you got to think about that.
I had to.
You're 20 years old, and I guarantee you right now in life, you still go through things where you got to call pops.
I do.
Because guess
to this
what?
day,
You ain't been 28 before. You ain't never been 28. You ain't never been 29. 30. Pops already done that. So you still got to pick up the phone and be like, all right, cool. So I got this idea. He able to tell you because of life experiences, that ain't going to work. Or that's a good idea. And so.
No, there's been plenty of times just with my business in general, where my dad has advised me, because I had opportunities to partner with some people, and then my dad be like, okay, you got to think about this, you got to think about that, you got to think about how much you're paying, all this stuff, and then me just being young, especially when you're starting a business, you're trying to, okay, I want to make a lot of money fast. And I think that's the thing, just being young, you want to make money fast. But then him saying, hey, you got to think about this, you got to think about that, So that's the biggest thing that I would say. And like you said, he's been 28, he's been 29, he's been 27, he's been even, I think the biggest time is like when I feel like whenever I turn 30, I'm really going to be asking a lot of questions. So that's going to be a lot of things. And even in the prior episode to this, I was saying that I feel like I'm at an age, like you said, you got close with your dad when you got grown. I feel like now I really, truly understand my dad as a person. Like when you're growing up and you're getting disciplined, you get whoopers and all that stuff, you're like, man, I don't like this dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't like him at all. But then as you get older, my dad had a tense battle with cancer twice. So like I was able to see him being very strong and then also being, very weak sometimes because of the medicine and stuff and the chemo. I feel like I'm at an age now where I really understand him as a person. I understand his point of view. Even like when him and my mom be talking sometimes, I'm like, Mom, I gotta understand why dad think like that.
Yeah.
And then my mom, it's so funny because then my mom will see me and my dad should be like, you just like him. And it's so funny. And that's gonna be the things that, obviously I'm gonna see one day. And I'm sure you see it now. The stuff that your kids do, little stuff that they do now, like, man, I used to do that.
My dad used to, I'm gonna tell you, bro, I hated my dad growing up.
Yeah.
Like when probably from that maybe 13 to 16, 17, bro, I hated my dad. Like didn't want to be around him. I would only go around because like I respected and loved him. I needed things from, but I hated him, bro. And it did. But what's crazy is when I became an adult, because everything, he was always real hard on me. I never understood why at the time. And, eventually we taught, yeah, you got to lead this family. And I knew you had some specialty. Without me having the father that I had, I'm not who I am today.
Right.
But when I became successful and I made it, all I wanted to do, bro, was retire him and give him, retire him and give him everything he wanted in life. And what's crazy, but he didn't want nothing from me. And it was like, I remember, I'm like, man, whatever house you want, I'm getting it for you.
Yep.
He's like, I don't want no house, man. Like, I'm good, man.
Yep.
You just live your life, son. And I wanted to repay him so bad.
Yeah.
But I was trying to repay him financially.
Right.
You don't got to repay me. All I want you to repay me, the best way you can repay me is by just being the best person you could be. Look out for your brothers and sisters and be a better father than I was to you. And so he didn't want the house. I bought him a truck.
Yep.
He called me the next week, like, man, come get the truck. I don't want it.
Yep.
And gave it back to me. Literally, bro. And I'm like that. And it was like, I used to just, so, okay, wherever you said, I'm just pay the rent.
Yeah.
He would move every 6 months. I don't want to live. I won't go live over here. And it's just the small, but he would never call me and say, I think the most amount of money my dad ever called me for was $500.
Right.
He would, like, son, can you send me $500? I would send him $1,500. I would send him $1,000, just. And I would just always, every time I would see him, I just always made sure he was straight, but it was like he didn't want nothing from me.
Right.
And it was like, he didn't do what he did for a financial payoff.
Right.
He did what he did because it was the right thing to do. And he knew that someday you got to carry my legacy as far as you could take it, right? And so my father died in 2017. And a year after I won the Super Bowl. And I tell people this all the time, like, so I went to the Super Bowl 2016. We 15 seasons, we won in February 16. And I remember he was too ill to go to the Super Bowl. So when I was leaving, they had this Super Bowl jacket. And it was all black, had a bunch of NFL patches on it, Broncos. So I'm getting this for my pops. And when I took it to him and I gave it to him, and I'm like, man, let me get some pictures. And I was taking pictures of him. And he got this one picture that he took, man. And it was like his back was turned to me and he went like this. He died a year later. And I'm like, I felt like that moment was that moment where he was like, all right, son, you did it. You could take over the ship now. I'm gone. He died a year later. And I remember when he died, I drove to him and I had this conversation with him, like, because he was ice cold. He was in the hospital. I begged him to let me see him, and they did. And I just wanted to see him in his most human form that he would ever be again. And I just remember telling him, like, I understand it now. Like, everything, the reason why you were so hard on me, the reason why you would always separate me from my brothers and sisters and make me work overtime, make me work on call. I get it now because you knew that one day I had to leave this family. And I always somebody said, Pop, all I want you to do is, man, is get your rest. Let me take care of everything here down here on earth, and you just go get your rest. Because I finally understood it at that point, you know. And that was a big moment for me. And that picture to this day, bro, was so. And like I could show you the jacket. Like this is a jacket right here. Yeah. See the jacket?
Yeah, man.
And so this same picture right here, if he turned around, he went just like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was his way. Literally, he died a year later. So he got the jacket on February 10th, 16. He died February 10th, 17. And I feel like that was his way of being like, all right, man, I'm gone.
Right.
I can go rest now. So.
And that's huge, man. And that's a great story. I know we could talk about our dads all day.
Yeah.
You know, I still have a great relationship with my dad. Only thing I really want to do, like I really feel like this, like with my dad. My dad has had a hard life as well. Is I really want to be able to say, hey, you don't have to worry about anything. And I think that's the biggest thing. We think it's just a financial or money thing. Like I try to, every time I go out to eat with my dad, I try to pay. If I try to pay for a vacation for him and my mom, and he's like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. Like even like my wife will tell you, they always get in an argument every time we go out to eat because I'm paying. No, I'm paying. And like he'll be, I'm your dad, and I have to be like, all right, you know what I'm saying?
But it's still that. Yeah. I talked about that snap. That's still him.
Yeah.
Trying to look out for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's still trying to take care of his baby. You know what I'm saying? Even though you dating at 30, I'm dating.
Right.
He's still like, I gotta take care of my son.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so
absolutely
that's dope though, man. And I met your father, man. Much respect to him. Super dope individual.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. We here at Rise Up Dads believe in strong families, strong communities. And just to wrap up this great episode today, Sylvester, what's one thing that you can tell dads that they can do this week? Obviously, we talked about a whole bunch of other stuff that, you know, they can do throughout the year and throughout, you know, their whole life as a father. But what's one thing, a challenge that you can say, hey, this week, this is one thing you can do this week as a father?
Man, I think the biggest thing, especially when you talk about our community, is like, we don't plan enough for our kids' future, man.
Yep.
So I think I tell every parent, man, the number one thing I tell parents is, man, open up a bank account for your kid, man. If you only put $10 in there, $20, $30, open that bank account up, man, and just every now and then just deposit money into that account. Because you don't know the benefits of them having that money when they get out to college and get off into the real world. Because, man, the number one debt in America is student loan debt, right?
Yep.
And it's because, and some people die with that student loan debt, right? And man, we got to set our kids up for a better future. And the best way we could do that, man, is to take care of their education early on. Because you got 18 years between the time a kid is born and the time they go to college. If you just put a little bit of money away every single month, man, your kid college will be paid for. And that go for anybody. I don't care what status you have financially. If you just put a little bit away every month, your kid college will be paid for.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Guys, the Fatherhood Initiative, the Rise Up Dads program. The Rise Up Dads program is sponsored by KCI. That is Kids Central Incorporated. We are doing a fantastic partnership with them. This partnership has been going for the last 3 years, helping dads, supporting dads, and helping them become better men, but also at the same time, helping them build relationships with their kids. Every month, with any dad that is in the Circuit 5 County, we're doing fatherhood events where they're able to come out and bring their kids to, bring their spouse, and just create fun memories. Again, the Rise Up Dads podcast is in conjunction and partnership with Kids Central Incorporated. This is a fantastic organization that does so much for not only youth, but families in general. This is episode 3. Dang it. I messed that up. Episode 3.
Episode deuce.
This is episode deuce. This is episode deuce. Episode 2. I wanted just to give Sylvester opportunity because I know him being here is a tremendous honor, but he's more than just an NFL athlete. He's doing a lot of stuff right now as a retired NFL player, and he's impacting students, youth, adults on a huge level. So I wanted to give him an opportunity to talk about what he does and also to tell the people where they can find him on social media.
I did biggest thing, man. You can find me at Sylvester Williams Champ. It's a new page I just started. kind of a vision I got for, you know, and where I'm kind of going with is, man, like you said, talk about helping people. I think the biggest thing in my life right now is, man, you know, Ryan know, man, it's like that. I'm big on impacting others, right? I think God has blessed me, man, in so many ways. And I'm to a point in my life now, man, where I no longer chase paper, I chase purpose.
Amen.
And I think that for me is like, man, being the best father I could be and impacting as many individuals on this world that I can, and I'm satisfied with like. So like being here with you today, man, it was truly an honor to be here. And like I said, man, anytime you want me back, you know, I'll be here. And, you know, and like I said, tell your pops I said what's up, because I got a lot of respect for him. But, you know, I ain't really got no shout outs for myself, man. Just again, thank you for having me, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah.